My father, he loved to fish. And I don't think that's something that a lot of people knew about him because he wasn't a saltwater fisher. So he never went out to the sea. He never fished in Hawaii. He only fished when we were on the mainland, in lakes and streams. And he always found room for his poles. If he was carrying 60 pounds on his back and there wasn't any way to put in, a single thing into his back, he would carry his poles, all of his poles, for 8 or 9 hours while we hiked, always scanning the horizon, looking for traces of water. Interestingly enough, for all of his passion, I don't ever remember him catching anything bigger than his hand. He always really triumphantly pulled up the smallest fish you could ever imagine. And we'd always laugh at him, but he was always so proud. And I think that was something that was really unique to him, was that he was never looking for a number. He wasn't looking for bragging rights. He was just looking for an adventure. That's what he wanted most of all. And he got it, I think. And he lived most of his life like it was an adventure. He didn't want to have a package deal. He didn't want to have a package tour of life. He wanted to go his own way and do his own thing. And it didn't matter whether he managed to scale a mountain or, catch a fish the size of his pinky. He just wanted the experience. He wanted to say he did it. And he did.
The greatest gift that my parents gave me was an instruction to always look for reasons to be grateful. My dad cut out the word mahalo and kept it next to the television with a bumper sticker he got at a hippie restaurant in Berkeley. The bumper sticker reads, "What are you grateful for?" We look at it every day. This is the darkest moment of my life. And you would think it would be hard for me to find reasons to feel grateful. But on the contrary, I'm shocked by how easy it's been. I'm grateful for how hard my dad fought to stay with us those last days. I'm grateful for the sense of security he gave me, for the countless times he made me laugh, for always inspiring me to do better, to think differently. I'm grateful that he never denied me a single thing I needed. I'm grateful that I can say without a doubt that my father was proud of me. And I'm grateful for how much I love and admire him, even though that makes losing him all the more painful. Dad's life was too short. That is something I think we can all agree on. But as I look back on it, I can't help but think of all the reasons he had to be grateful. He was talented, creative, and was able to pursue that creativity his whole life because he had the best support staff on the planet making things happen. My mom and my grandparents. He was fortunate. He spent his early days to his last day doing the things he loved. And he had all of you, his friends and family, who enriched and enabled his life. It was a life cut short, but I believe it was a good one because of you. We may be heartbroken, but we are also grateful to Dad and to all of you for your love and friendship. And it's gratitude, like your program says, that is the root of joy.
And I know about Uncle Harris that he helped us make a picture. And I know that Uncle Harris's dad sent it to you, Mommy.
Harris was always so friendly when I was passing him walking, and Of course, he helped Sharon with all her garden jobs, coming to the farm to get manure and all that. So anyway, Harris was a wonderful, talented, and artistic and good person, and he surely will be missed.
And Harris was just so extremely generous, where he made our 100-year anniversary sign, all with gold in it, and just, I mean, amazing. All of his signs are just totally amazing, and he was rushing on it to do it in time, and it was just the most amazing gift we've ever received. He cared more about other people than himself.
So this is one of 2 turntables that Harris purchased for me after I won my first DJ battle at the age of 18. I have one here, and I have one on the other side of the studio that I own. I use this one mainly as my daily to play records. I search for loops, samples, and whatnot when I'm making music. I scratch on it still. These turntables meant a lot to me when he purchased them for me. Let me tell you, I was speechless. To this day, I can't even put it into words how much it meant to me. I was 18. They mean even more to me now. They're his legacy for me, and I'm gonna have these turntables forever. I'm gonna use them forever in whatever I do. And if you're curious as to what I do, I take sounds like this, and I do this. I'm Joe from Kohler Street, Iowa, also known as DJ Elite. And Harris, we miss you, we love you. You're the man, you'll always be the man.
I remember about Uncle Harris that he made a sign for Mommy. And I know that Daddy, and I know when Daddy was growing up, he got t-shirts from Uncle Harris and skateboards, and he loved us, and he made a sign for Uncle Pat and Auntie Terry.
At my last visit with Harris, just a few days before he had his heart attack. As usual, sitting around talking stories about our present and future projects. And this was Harris. He's already backlogged, he's under pressure to finish his fine orders, and he comes and tells me, come. He goes over to his scroll saw to show me how to save time making my oven rack puller. He gave me a few blades, a brochure to order more, and that was Harris. He was generous, constantly thinking of ideas, giving constructive advice, lending a helping hand, and never told me no. People like that are hard to find, and even harder to find is a friend that can sympathize and agree with you when talking about our wives. Much mahalo for all those years and good things that you've done for me. Love you. I will definitely miss you. Aloha, my friend.
He was always playing tricks on people. When I was 23 and I woke up in the morning, and my father said that he had upgraded my car. And at the time I was driving this just beat up Corolla. It was from my late grandfather, and it just didn't have anything. It didn't have radio, it didn't have automatic locks, it didn't have air conditioning, and it was kind of a piece of junk. And I was really excited that he had gotten me a new car, so I ran outside, and my usual car was in the driveway, except now it had bullet hole stickers in the trunk, and it was all over the back area of the car, and all I could think of was that when I would turn around, my father would be watching me from the window, laughing, and he was, but he also had something else for me, which was plastic chrome spinning hubcaps that he proudly said that he had bought from Walmart. And he tried to sell me on them pretty hard. He kept spinning the plastic chrome wheels, but I wasn't a fan. I made him take off all of those bullet hole stickers, but there was one that he couldn't get off. And I drove it like that until the car died.
Yeah, I'm never gonna forget any of the times that me and Harris played jokes on the Wahiwa Weirdos from the Choice Cut store. One day in particular, I remember running into the store, excited to tell him about a new prank that I had just pulled off. Harris, guess what? I just some crank called Big Balls Barry. He started growling at me like the devil. Ha! Meet me on the bridge. Dan, don't be stupid. You want to go to jail? You want to throw away your whole life crank calling Big Balls Barry? No. Okay, let's hear it. Never gonna forget you, Harris. Love you, buddy.
Harris Okuda, or H, that's what I called him, is one of my closest and dearest friends. He is the meaning of selfless. Look in the dictionary, and his picture is right next to the word. I am very speechless and heartbroken, and for those who know me, that's rare. I don't say much about my friends that I keep private and hold dear to me, but I will share with you what this man means to me. I have been fortunate enough to have known this great man since I was 12 years old. He is my mentor, my confidant, my inspiration and motivation for my music and life thus far. He has helped me grow exponentially because of his knowledge and encouragement. He is also my boss, but never treated me like an employee. He has always been there for me, many countless times. He was the only person that I wanted to see, even more than my family, when I was released from federal prison. So he picked me up at the airport, took me to go eat that good local food, gave me money, and dropped me off at the federal halfway house. Ladies and gentlemen, selfless. H. You're like the brother I wish I could have, but in some ways you're like my father. If you can hear me or feel my heart, I'm discombobulated and distraught because I need your advice to help me go on with this crazy life of mine. You'll definitely be missed, but never forgotten.
This is one of my favorite signs. Harris made this for me back in 1994 when I first ran for the State House of Representatives for the Wahiwa District. It is a showcase piece at all of our dinners. Every 2 years, our country gathering dinners. And the last one was back in 2016. It was our 12th dinner. And like clockwork, every year Harris would update it from number 1 to number 12. So he's been a friend and a strong supporter of mine for all of these years, over 22 years. And I treasure this so much. So much. He never charged me for it. Always buffed it up, added some new paint, and made sure it was sparkling new every time. I treasure this.
I moved to Wahiwa and was only there a couple years. We were there to pastor a small church, Wahiwa Community Church, and you know, our church was run down and just needed something, and so, you know, I'd go by the shop and I'd see Harris out there, and usually his dad was out there with him and working out there, and I just thought, you know, I'm just gonna go talk to this guy about a sign and see what he could do. And you know, I was just blown away by, of course, his incredible skill and mastery of that. You know, he helped me really get a sign that would just kind of reflect the new spirit and the new hope that we wanted to have in our church. And it was so great to just see that kind of come to fruition and see this just beautiful sign. And just like all the rest of you, just going to miss the fact that he's not there, making signs out there, and just that calming presence that he was. And all my condolences to all the family, and just know you're loved and prayed for. And We just love you all.
But you know, when I first met him at Wahewa and I talked to him, I said, you know, I gotta get to know this guy a little more because he's kind of strange. He told me he and Sharon, his wife, was going to eastern Canada during the winter and go. I thought they were going to stay in a hotel. He said, no, they're going to camp out there in the snow. He always made me feel welcome. Even though he was busy at work, he made me feel welcome. We went inside his crowded shop, pull out a chair for me, he would sit down, and we would simply talk story.
I know a humble carpenter whose generous heart was kind. He always helped out others without himself in mind. He could be seen outside his shop working every day, and often when he went inside, he'd take some time to pray. His hobbies ranged from traveling to hiking far and near. His love for God's creation as he shared adventures was so clear. He wrote a poem long ago, when my life fell apart, about a special angel who I loved with all my heart. It got me through some long, rough times. She was my mom, you see. I want to give that comfort back to all his family. I know he is with Jesus now. So when you're feeling sad, remember all the love he gave as husband, friend, and dad. Love, Lisa Syme, George. Aloha.
What a creative genius he really was. He volunteered to do our two sons' graduation signs, and it wasn't just these cookie cutter signs that he did. He put thoughtfulness, he put love, he put passion into it. And Sharon would tell me, you must be really special, because he wouldn't just do it for anybody. And that's how Harris was. He treasured our friendship, and he made us feel really special. And our daughter Kylan and Harris, they share a passion for art. And Harris would always critique her work, and it would bring smiles to our face because we thought, wow, we highly respected his opinion. And then he and Sharon loved her artwork, and we thought, like, wow, this artistic genius is telling us that our baby girl has some serious talent. And it really, really meant a lot to us, and we really treasured his friendship, both he and Sharon. And we really feel that, Harris, you were a really, truly amazing guy. We just thank you for being in our lives.
Every time that we've journeyed into the town of Waihawa, there's always this fixture that's burnt in my mind of a picture that I always see you and Pops out there on the front of that store. No matter which direction I'm going, I either look left or I look right, and I'd always see you guys out there. When we stop by, we talk, and bring the kids by. You'd always want to know what they're doing, and what kind of either sports or activities they're involved in and things like that. And you also gave me an opportunity too when both you and Sharon offered me a space in your store to sell some of my products when I was doing the health supplement business. And those are things that I'll never forget. The generosity, the caringness, just the love that you guys have shared with our family. You've definitely left a lasting impression on our lives, as well as many people in the town of Waihawa and around the world with your signs. And I want to thank you so much for letting us be a part of your family.
The good majority of my memories of Dad involve pretty cruel, albeit hilarious pranks, but I have a heartwarming one that sticks out. Many of you remember Henry Okuda, my dad's father. Before he passed, he would often be seen at the shop helping my dad, or more likely napping near him. When it got too difficult for Grandpa to make it down to the shop, my dad would often stop at his parents' house on the way to work and bring Grandpa a box of letters to sand. Even if Dad didn't necessarily need help sanding, he always wanted Grandpa to know that he was needed. and that his help was valued. Dad loved Grandpa. Bought him a car, took him to Vegas and to see his least favorite NBA team lose. But it was this gesture in particular that resonated with me because it demonstrated how Dad knew the greatest gift he could give his father was the knowledge that he was still needed by his son. My dad was a great father, but he was also a wonderful son.
As a relatively recent addition to the Okuda family, I'm so grateful that I've been able to know someone as kind, generous, and gifted as Harris. I've never honestly met someone with so much spark and serenity, and I still can't believe all of the stories I've heard about his many, many, many talents. I also really can't describe in proper words how much he has done to welcome me to this wonderful family. The sheer amount of kindness, warmth, and generosity he has shown me will never be forgotten, and I will be eternally grateful.
I have very precious memories of my time with Harris here in Hawaii. Coming from Los Angeles as a little kid, I remember doing leather crafts at his first Island Comfort store. He'd teach me how to stamp leather and dye them. And more recently at his Hawaiian Sign Gallery, just visiting and watching him work at his artistry and his craft. I think one of the best things that I think about is how my uncle and Harris, by their woodwork in the town, created a different type of culture where visitors from all over the world would come and benefit from his amazing talents. Daily in my office, if you can see, I have 2 signs of my own. I have one in my bedroom at home and one in my homeschool office. And it's often a conversation piece that people look at and they're amazed at the work and the quality of each piece of wood lettering that he has done, incorporated with the beautiful floral designs. So if I think back on that, my special times that I had with him at the store the summer of my senior year and seeing Choice Cut Records and all of the things that he had entrepreneured himself to do were absolutely amazing, and it's with fond memories and love that I will constantly hold those memories close to my heart.
First and foremost, we'd like to say thank you very much, Harris, for being a great friend. We have many stories to tell you, but I guess the most important, what comes to mind is one day we were busy at my shop making tofu and my machine broke, and I had to come by to get a piece of leather from you. So here I come walking down the street in my boots, and you're busy making your signs, and this is one of the signs above us that you made for us. Thank you. Anyway, so you took time to go through and rummage through all your stockpile of materials to get me a piece of leather so I could finish production for the day. And just want to say thank you for that.
And could it be that that piece of remnant came from one of these vintage creations? He was such an artist, and I think his creative legacy will always be in our many homes and businesses where all his signs and other creations are. Thank you, Harris.
Once we went backcountry camping and we were hiking for about, I think maybe 9 or 10 hours. And this is when my sister and I were really young. And when we made camp in the evening, we made a fire and we discovered that my father had forgotten to pack all of the pots and pans for our food. We weren't that happy. All I remember is that we weren't really as thrilled as my father. And he would, he was trying to purify the water in his water pump and, trying to figure out how to cook miso soup in the plastic packet over an open flame. I think actually none of us ate that night. I think we all just watched my sister eat her Snicker bar. And she didn't share. But that's one of my favorite memories about camping.
In the middle of the night, my dad woke up in his hospital bed, and he had a breathing tube in, so he couldn't talk. But he was moving around a lot. He was moving around rapidly. And he was trying to get the restraints off of his arm. And Auntie Jerry and the nurse and Uncle Donald were like, what do you want? What, are you in pain? What's going on? No, he shook his head, he's not in pain. So he went like this. And Uncle Donald figured out that he wanted to write. So they got him a clipboard and a piece of paper, and they gave him a pen, and he wrote the word home and an exclamation mark. And Auntie Jerry said, oh, you want to go home? And he just shook his head and he pointed at her and he was like, you go home. Because it was the middle of the night and he didn't want her staying and worrying. And he wanted her to know that he would be fine. And I love this story so much because it says so much about my dad. That even during the hardest and most difficult fight in his life, he was still concerned about his family and about the people he loved. And he wanted them to go home.
Rachel, would you like to try that? Now let's everybody try that.
I can get it if I don't have to do this thing. Feels so nice, yeah? I think I could learn this.